if somebody gets a tick bite, I will say, let's go ahead, lead them, lead them 30 or 200. And there's some different protocols that you can find around. I don't know if it's necessary to do. I don't know. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. There's some protocols that say, I think 30C twice per day for a week. And then I don't know the rest of it. But when I got bit by a tick, I took a few doses, and the same with my son, a few doses of Ledum. I wrote a note. I took a picture of the place. I took a note in my phone about when it was, when the bite was and what I did. And, and then from there, so that's what I've chosen to do. But you might want to do a whole big protocol and go on for a couple of months with Ledum. That's what I would do as a homeopath if you want to, when you get bit by a tick. Bree, do you want to ask your questions, or Tricia, do you have some follow-up with what to do when you get bit?
I do have a follow-up. I think it's really, really important to write down who got the tick bite, where was the bite. I tell people circle the bite, monitor it, because if you have any symptoms, you definitely have a Lyme infection, and then treat it. I recommend homeopathy to everyone because, especially for kids, it's so easy to take, it's effective. There's no side effects, but at the same time, you have to be self-aware. So you have to pay attention to, how are you feeling? Are there any symptoms that are coming about that you didn't have before? And don't ignore those, and keep treating if you have symptoms. So for someone like me who has had chronic debilitating Lyme, when I got bit by a tick, I couldn't just take Ledum for a few days. I actually had to take a longer protocol because I already have Lyme, right? And so my immune system is a lot lower. So I am very self-aware, and I recognize the symptoms. I recognize that I actually had gotten a Babesia infection again, along with the Lyme infection. So that's another thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that it's not just Lyme. And a lot of times it's not Lyme at all. It's Babesia, which is a red blood cell infection. It's Bartonella, which is cat scratch disease that you can get from a cat scratching you or biting you, or you can get from fleas, or you could get one of the other, like tick relapsing fever or mycoplasma. I mean, there's so many different infections that you can get. So it's not just Lyme. And that's where homeopathy is so beautiful, because that Ledum can help with all of that, right? Because with that tick bite, it treats the tick bite. And that's what we really want to do. We want to really emphasize treating the tick bite.
My first question is kind of back to your family story. And maybe this is two questions in one. Are all of the issues you experienced, so I kind of want to know, you guys all, your whole family had a really high, like a big response to this. Were there underlying conditions in your history and your family history? Do you think that, so this is kind of part two, are certain people more susceptible to that than others? Or is that any person who's really, like, let's say we use homeopathy, we're, you know what I mean? Like would some other people maybe not have that type of reaction?
Absolutely. There are people that get bit by ticks over and over and they never have a problem until they have surgery. And then they have all these weird symptoms and they think that their knee surgery didn't work, but it's actually because they have a Lyme infection there, or they have some kind of a trauma and then it comes out. For my family, we were going through a very difficult time as a family. So we had that stress. And then our homeopath believes that the area where our homes were built had some type of toxic water flow under it that potentially caused us to get sick like the way that we did. Now, I kind of believe that because a lot of the people on my court were very sick. And they were all very sick with something. There's a lot of people on disability, not a lot, but there were people on disability. If your immune system is weak, if you have some kind of trauma, if you're going through really stressful times and you know how that impacts your body, you can get sick much quicker, much worse than somebody else. And I find that so true in the Lyme community. Most people who have a chronic debilitating disease have some type of underlying health condition or some type of trauma in their background that they haven't dealt with. And so that makes them more susceptible.
Okay. When you said that surgery or trauma or something can bring it out,
Mhm.
does that mean that like those things can live like once you have Lyme or Bab Babesia and Bartonella, those are the ones that are not Lyme, right? Those are the other two?
Right, right.
Do those just stay in your body forever?
Yes.
Even after like a so in homeopathy we say, right, like you that should heal and not be present. Is
Mhm.
that something that you kind of just it sticks around and then maybe something could trigger it much later?
So our homeopath says that he has uprooted these illnesses and that they're gone. However, that's not what science shows us. Science shows us that it actually goes dormant in your body
Okay.
and it can come back out. So I don't know. My kids have not relapsed. I I don't know if I've relapsed. I have so many other health things that have been triggered by the Lyme disease because the Lyme bacteria, Borrelia, that goes through your body and it sends off these proteins that tells your white blood cells to leave it alone. It says, I'm okay, I'm healthy, I'm here, I'm part of you. So the white blood cells don't attack it. And then it also sends off, I think this maybe it's the same proteins, but it'll send off something in the areas where it likes to go, like your thyroid, like your brain, your muscles or joints, and it triggers an autoimmune response. So once you may be done with the Lyme, you may not show titers anymore, or you may not, it may not come up energetically, but you've got all these other issues that the Lyme caused, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.